Late-season whitetail hunting exposes a hard truth most hunters don't like to admit. When the leaves are gone, temperatures drop, and pressure has reshaped deer behavior, the majority of hunters are no longer hunting deer. They're hunting habits that only worked earlier in the season. Stands go cold, sits get longer and quieter, and confidence drains faster than body heat. The problem isn't toughness or gear, it's setup. And without the right late-season setup, most hunters are effectively blind. Late-season whitetails are not doing new things. They are doing fewer things. Their world contracts. Bedding areas tighten, movement windows shorten, and travel routes become painfully predictable if you know what to look for. Hunters get lost because they keep spreading themselves thin, sitting where deer used to be instead of where they must be now. The core of an effective late-season setup is proximity. Late-season deer conserve energy aggressively. They do not wander, they rise, move with purpose, and bed again. That means the distance between food, bedding, and security dictates everything. If your setup isn't inside that compressed triangle, you're waiting on luck instead of behavior. The most common mistake is setting up too far from bedding. Early season caution teaches hunters to avoid tight bedding areas. Late season flips that rule. Cold forces deer to minimize movement, especially mature bucks. They will often rise from their beds with daylight fading and move only far enough to feed before returning. Hunters who set up along classic travel corridors are often watching empty woods because the deer never get that far. A proper late-season setup starts by identifying the best remaining food source, not the most obvious one. By this point in the season, deer have already burned through exposed groceries. What remains is usually overlooked, inconvenient, or difficult to access. Standing corn, tucked against timber, a south-facing food plot protected from wind, acorns buried under leaf litter on a thermal slope. Late-season deer choose calories with cover, not convenience. Once food is identified, bedding becomes easier to predict. Deer will bed where they can absorb solar heat, block wind, and escape quickly. South and southeast-facing slopes dominate. Thick conifer edges, cutovers, and brush-choked drainages suddenly matter more than open hardwoods. Hunters often walk past these areas because visibility is poor. Late-season deer choose them because visibility is poor. The setup that works places the hunter between bed and food, but close enough that movement is inevitable. This is where discipline matters. You do not need a perfect wind. You need a wind that keeps your scent out of the bedding area, for the short window deer will move. Late-season sits are not all-day affairs. They are precise, timed operations. Entry and exit routes matter more now than at any other point in the season. Snow, frozen leaves, and bare timber really do amplify sound. A late-season setup that educates deer even once is often burned for the rest of the year. Successful hunters plan entry routes that stay low, stay quiet, and avoid crossing feeding paths entirely. This often means longer walks and, well, less comfortable access, which is why most hunters tend to avoid it. Height and position change late season as well. Being high in a tree increases exposure to wind and scent drift. Many experienced late-season hunters drop lower or choose ground setups tucked into cover, where thermal stability is better and movement can be controlled. This isn't about hiding, it's about staying warm enough to remain alert and still during the narrow movement window that, honestly, matters most. Late-season setups also account for the mental state of deer. By now, whitetails associate danger with obvious human behavior. Straight-line approaches, permanent stands, and repeated access routes just scream pressure. Hunters who adapt use fresh setups, natural cover, and minimal disturbance. They hunt locations fewer times, not more. Patience looks different late season. It isn't measured in hours sat. It's measured in days, weighted for the right conditions. A correct late-season setup hunted on the wrong day fails. The same setup hunted with favorable wind, stable weather, and a falling barometer can succeed within minutes. Hunters who bounce around chasing activity, well, they stay lost. Hunters who wait hunt less and, kill more. The final piece of the setup is mindset. Late-season whitetail hunting punishes hope-based decisions. You cannot sit where deer might pass. You must sit where deer have no alternative. That requires confidence built on observation, tracks, beds, droppings, and trail patterns written clearly in snow and mud for anyone willing to read them. Most hunters are lost late season because they never shrink their world. They keep hunting acres instead of yards. The setup that works is smaller, tighter, quieter, and honestly closer than feels comfortable. It trades comfort for certainty. Late-season whitetail success isn't about enduring the cold. It's about removing variables. When your setup intersects necessity rather than habit, the woods suddenly make sense again.